fight as well. I think it was close, and for a minute there, I thought he was going to knock him out in the first round, to be honest. And then Moldavsky came back, and he had his own game plan and started taking Ryan down, controlling the wrestling. But it was a grind, and I'm so happy for Benson because there's been so many close decisions where it didn't work out for him that he finally got the decision. So I'm really happy for Benson.
Both those decisions were pretty close, and people online seem to some people scored it the other way for both of them. How did you score the main event come in? Did you agree with those decisions?
Oh yeah, I agree with the decisions because it's really just like a fraction of did this work or that work. It's too close. And I honestly, I was talking to one of the judges. I said I would not want to be a judge for either one of these fights. They can keep that job because I have no interest in doing it. But it's close fights. And like I said, look at Benson. Sometimes it doesn't go his way, and the decision, where I thought maybe he would have won, he lost, and Ryan was. I think Ryan clearly won the fight by 1 point. And that's how they judged it. So that's how I saw it.
After the fight, you guys announced Cheick Kongo, the rematch. So can you talk about the thought process behind rebooking that fight? And does that mean that Ryan Bader versus Fedor will not be Fedor's retirement fight?
Yeah, so this is a fight that we've been putting together for a while, and they fought in San Jose a couple of years ago. It was kind of a I think it was an eye poke, or it was something that I think it was not a very clear decision or winner, and so I go, let's just run it back, and we've been trying to put that fight on it for some time, and we had a date in Paris that we wanted to go in May. It's the week before the fight in London. With MVP versus Amosov. So we put the fight together. We said whoever wins, Moldavsky or Bader, will fight Cheick Kongo. And, Fedor did tell me before the fight, he said, if Ryan Bader wins, I'd really like to fight him for the belt. And I said, well, Kongo is going to fight him in Paris, and then we can see what happens. But, if May to July is not a lot of time, we'll see what happens. But, this is a very crazy business. Things change rapidly. It's a very fluid business. So let's see what happens.
And after the fight, Benson came in here and talked to us, and he said that this was the last fight on his Bellator deal. Mm-hmm. Do you guys think that he'll come back? He seemed like he was on the fence. He wasn't really sure what his future holds.
Yeah, I had heard that he was thinking about retiring. And, it's really going to be up to him. But to me, he's already done it all. I mean, he's been fighting a long time, and he's been a great ambassador for the sport. If he decides to hang it up, I think he's done everything there is to do, and we would wish him well. But if he wants to fight, then we'll have a conversation.
Scott, Henry Corrales was back here. He said he also fought out his contract, and he was hoping to come back. Is that another guy you're going to have a conversation with as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think he's a talented fighter, and we'll sit down with him and start talking about his next deal.
Also, a couple big wins for some bright prospects on the prelims. Sullivan kicked off with a victory. Dolan got a big win. What did you make of their performances in there?
Yeah, I think that you saw a lot of young talent that are on their way up, and Sullivan is one of the guys that actually a former kickboxer, a friend of mine, Jean-Claude Loyer, an ISK kickboxing champion, kept calling me about this kid. You got to sign this kid. You got to sign this kid. And then Bader called me and said, you got to sign this kid. You got to sign this kid. And so we did, and I think that he's looking pretty good.
I think a lot of people were kind of looking at Fedor as probably that next guy for Bader. So now that that's off the table, do you have any plans for Fedor? Any conversations with him yet?
You know what? He and I will sit down probably later tonight or tomorrow morning, and we'll have a conversation. But this is his retirement fight, and it's now that Bader is a champion. It's like, I'm not sure if they will be able to get to lock it up at some point. But there's other heavyweights that he could fight. So. We'll find somebody for him that makes sense.
And just a bit of housekeeping. I mean, obviously, Kayla Harrison sort of been a big free agent conversation over the last couple months. It does appear as if she's close to re-signing with PFL. Was there ever an offer made from you guys for her?
There wasn't an official offer. We talked to her manager, and we talked about what a deal would look like. And I think those conversations are ongoing. I don't think anything is set. I don't think she signed anything, and we'll continue talking. To Ali either tonight or next week. And it's she's got a lot of offers right now, and we'll see what happens.
And then just lastly from me, just seeking clarification. I mean, it seems like Cris Cyborg and Kat Zingano have been going back and forth on social media quite a bit. Some things have been said. Nobody really seems certain whether they're fighting each other, if there's a date, anything like that. Can you clarify, I guess.
Well, I
that
think
type of issue.
I would love for them to fight. I think timing is going to be an issue on that fight when Kat is ready to fight her, and we would like that fight to happen as soon as possible. That is our plan, but we have to have both fighters agree to that plan. So we're talking to the managers and Kat's manager and find out when she'll be ready to one fight, and we should be willing to fight Cyborg.
Scott, another follow-up. I don't think you watched it last night because you're at the Suns game. But what did you make of Khabib breaking ground with his promotion in America?
You know what? I was at the game, and I didn't see the fight, but I'm glad that Karatanov won. We sent our guy over there, and he had a great knockout finish. And one thing about Khabib and Ali and Javier Mendez, I mean, we've been working together for many years. Javier and I have been working together for probably 30 years now. So there's a lot of trust, and there's a lot of friendship. And Khabib is a super honorable, martial artist, and we have a good relationship with them, and we'll support them when we can. I told them, I said, look, we have a business to run as well, but when we can support you, we will. And it's there's nothing off the table.
Finally, is there any update on AJ McKee's next fight? I know he's at the top of your rankings, and I think fans are really excited to see him get back in there.
Yeah, I mean, tonight there isn't, but I think in the next couple of weeks we'll have something set and ready to go. But we want to get him back into the cage as soon as possible. Okay, guys. Oh, okay, sorry.
Hey Scott, after putting together two great cards here in Arizona, 268 back in October and here tonight, do you think there's a chance that you guys maybe come back here by the end of 2022, or any chance you guys come back here anytime soon?
Yeah, we would love to. I mean, I think myself, my whole staff, everybody loves this building and loves the community and loves the weather in the January, February, to have a 75 degrees. It's very, very comfortable, very much at home here. But we would like to come back maybe before the end of the year. Again, this is a very busy venue. They have a lot of teams going on in here, and they have a lot of concerts. But we'll try to get something going. But Ryan's going to fight. We'll see what happens with Benderson, and we'll see what happens with Corrales. But I think we'll be back before the end of 22.
And lastly, if Corrales does come back to Bellator, would you ever consider rebooking the Aiden Lee versus Corrales fight? Corrales did pick up the win, but it was a little bit iffy at the end with the eye poke. So.
Yeah, I mean, that's something I'd like to go back and talk to my guys and see, and Jane, and see, what they're thinking. But, for the most part, that's been our style, is like, and every time we have a fight, it's kind of like you're reshuffling the deck. And so, let's go back and talk about it and see what makes sense. But we can answer that for you next week.
Thanks.
Set. All right, thanks, Scott.
Thank you.
Recording stopped. Recording in progress.
Okay, we are now being joined by Ryan Bader.
Well, Ryan, congrats on the big
Thanks,
win.
buddy.
What's it feel like to get this win in Arizona after not be able to get it done back in October?
Man, it felt good. Obviously, it was really close, and at the end there, I'm like, fuck, that's a toss-up, I felt like I did more damage, but it felt so good considering the last fight. If I would have had a fight, I lost, but it was a, back and forth, or even we went the whole damn rounds, but last fight was just, under a minute. It's just anticlimactic, just to go out there and have a, exciting heavyweight championship 5-rounder with a tough dude in Arizona. I wanted that bad.
You kind of alluded to, you thought it was kind of a toss-up. How confident were you before the judges' scorecard?
Man, I'm never confident going to the judges. It's the first time in my life that I was hoping that they weren't scoring it for the wrestling. I was rocking it. Thank you. I was rocking them pretty good. With my punches, I was seeing everything. I underestimated his clinch and his body lock. He kept stepping in front of me, this weird deal, and he was stronger than I thought. I've never been picked up like that, really. But I just told myself, keep getting up. You're making him tired, and then keep throwing those strikes. At the end there, he was just holding on, and I probably 20 unanswered elbows to his head. Those can't be ignored. And so when we went to the scorecards, I was like, who knows?
I think online, a lot of people thought it was 2-2 going into the final frame. So how were your corners being honest with you between rounds, and what did they tell you going?
Yeah, they said it was 2-2. We win this round, and it was weird for me because third round I got that takedown pretty easy. I ran that single, but he's really strong. His hips are really strong, and so I couldn't really blast double him and try to put him on the cage. He was just he's kind of shorter, stocky. And he had good hips there. So we knew it was 2-2. They told me it was 2-2. And so, when he had that body lock, I was like, I just got to do damage, And I felt him kind of, on one of those elbows, he was kind of, felt it a little bit. And I'm like, just keep him rolling.
In October, it wasn't really the Arizona fighters' night. Now it's like Henry won, Benson picked up the big win, and then you picked up the win. So what'd you make of the crowd? And
Sullivan did too.
Yeah. So what'd you make of the performance of all the Arizona fighters?
Man, it was good. We needed that. I'm super happy for Sully. He came in. He's a beast, man. He's going to be fighting for this championship pretty soon at 205. Give him some time. He's young, 25 years old, but man, he's light years ahead of where I was when I was his age. And I'm glad he's getting some exposure now. And I'm glad Benson won. It's nice when we don't have a lot of fights here in Arizona. These bigger fights, and especially with Bellator, second in a long time. To come in here and have that crowd get behind us and then get a win for them. It's not only for us, man. We've been here forever, wrestled in front of these guys, and started our mixed martial arts career here.
Finally, they also announced your next fight. I think a lot of people just assumed it might be Fedor, the retirement fight, but you're fighting Cheick Kongo in Paris, of all places. So what do you make of that fight?
That's a left turn right there. I thought for sure it was going to be Fedor in Russia and all that kind of stuff. Unfinished business, right? I always wanted to get that fight back. And he was talking so much shit, from after. I poked him in the eye. I'm like, dude, there's video of you wincing and it's in your nose, And then, again, he came up, nice fight, but I'm going to beat your ass in Paris and all this bullshit, whatever. So, yeah, I like that fight. I've been asking for that fight forever. I wanted to run that back before I was going down to light heavyweight. But so now we get to do it. Comfortable at this weight, and I'm no longer, going back and forth. And so I'm going to be even better coming out heavyweight because I just fought at light heavyweight in October and then put on, that weight to fight, in January. And so now I'm a heavyweight, man. So I can just actually get into my body.
Actually, was just about to ask about that. So to follow up on it, I mean, how did it feel out there now, being back at heavyweight, especially after kind of having to go that back and forth?
Man, it felt good. I was just telling my coaches, this fight week and stuff. Like yesterday, weigh-in day. You weigh in, and it takes about 4 hours before you can even eat. Because you're, you got to get the water back in and all that. And so you're really kind of even barely getting going again on Saturday at noon, right? Getting replenished and stuff. And so I felt good on Friday. Today I woke up, I'm like, man, I feel strong. I feel good. And I can tell in there, taking shots. You know, he hit me with a couple good shots and nothing, you know. And I felt fast, and I obviously feel strong in there. So, heavyweight's my jam now.
We talk a little bit about how good of a night it was for the Arizona fighters. For you in particular, I mean, was it nice? Was it extra sweet for you to exercise some of the demons from October?
Oh, for sure, you know, and there was a belt at the end of the tunnel, you know, the heavyweight championship belt, you know, against a tough guy, a guy that, you know, I was a 3-1 underdog in that fight, you know, coming in here and knocking off one of those, people are saying one of the better heavyweights out there, you know, and he was, and he's great, you know, but to go out there, you know, get that belt around my waist, you know, I think it made up for that last fight here, you know, and so this is where I want to be, heavyweight.
I mean, you just mentioned the odds. Did it feel to you like people were counting you out?
Yeah, for sure. You know, MMA is a weird, fickle sport. You know, they can look at your last fight, even though it's big guys, small gloves throwing at each other. We're all the best in the world, but you know, you take a little slip back and people write you off. You know, they don't look at your body of work. It's what have you done for me lately? You know, and I always knew like I was going to feel good coming up. You know, at heavyweight, it's where I wanted to be, and so I saw those odds. I'm like, you know, awesome. They're counting me out right now. Now's the time to, you know, shut everybody up and you know, keep this train rolling, because I know I'm, you know, one of the best in the world, and I can be at any given night.
Last thing from me, I mean, to have your next fight booked pretty much right after
Yeah.
one ends is a little bit unusual. Did you know ahead of time that was sort of the plan, or were
No.
you kind of just going with the flow right
Yeah,
now?
not at all, man. Like you were saying, you were hearing rumblings about Fedor and in Russia and all that kind of stuff, you know, and I'm like, guarantee, you know, Fedor's going to step in there and whatever. But my manager grabbed me and he's like, hey, Kongo in Paris in May. I'm like, okay. You know, it's actually nice. You know, it's not like I'm getting any younger, right? You know, I'm 38 years old, and, you know, I had a fight in October, obviously here tonight in January, running again in May. You know, let's just rack them up, you know. And so I'm excited about that fight. Like I was saying earlier, that's a fight that I always wanted to run back just because of the no contest, you know, and the shit talking, you know, and I'm excited, you know, getting, you know, travel a little bit. I've been doing that, you know, my whole career out in different countries. So haven't been to Paris. Hey.
You landed a big combination early on in this fight, and I just want to know what was going through your mind. You closed the gap. You saw Moldavsky was wobbling a little bit.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't know. I knew I was trying to feel him out, and when we watch tape and everything, he's good at, you know, when you disengage, he throws. And so I didn't know how hurt he was. And so going in there, I didn't want to just stand in front of him and start trading, because that's, you know, we planned on like stick and move, you know, until I actually felt his strikes and saw his strikes. And I'm like, I'm good wherever. But I think I tried to take him down a little bit. I figured I could, you know, get my ride and end it on the ground. But he survived. And if it was a 3-round fight, I would have thrown kitchen sink at him. But it's a 5-round fight, championship fight. So, you know, I was just trying to be composed.
You mentioned the championship rounds. It looked like Moldavsky, especially after that fourth, with how much control you had, was gassed. And I just want to know, how are you feeling as well? Does being in the state of Arizona, your home state, does the crowd give you a little bit of an extra oomph going into that final round?
Oh, yeah, a little bit. You know, I wanted to do it obviously for myself and my coaches and people that put in time and work with me. But yeah, man, and it helped a little bit. You know, my family and friends are here, hometown crowd. You know, I hear them like, come on, get up. And, you know, I was trying my hardest, and I knew I was going to fight till the very bitter end, you know, and I think that's what won me the fight. You know, he was tired. You know, I was pretty damn tired at some points too, but I knew if I just kept working, you know, I had the potential to come out with a win.
Hey, Ryan. I had the pleasure of interviewing CB Dalloway earlier this week. I was just wondering, we talked a little bit about training camp and you doing a 5-round walkthrough earlier this week of the fight. I was just wondering what it means to have a Sun Devil wrestling teammate in your corner. What can you say about that?
Man, we've been roommates, and I've trained with him every day since, 2003, you know, literally every single day in wrestling, battled each other. Then we just went into mixed martial arts, you know, and so been going with that dude for 20 years about, you know, and we have a good group. You know, a lot of those guys went into MMA, you know, Kane, CB, Aaron Simpson, John Moraga, Clifford Starks, you know, list goes on, you know, and now we got guys like Sullivan Cauley, you know, is on this card, ASU wrestler. So those guys in that program, man, they've bred some warriors for sure, and those guys will always be by my side.
And CB said that the champion is going to show why he's the champion in the championship rounds. You think that you did that effectively tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what won that fight. I went out and won the fourth and fifth, championship rounds, or was it the third?
No, you won the fourth and the fifth. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so I knew when I started getting taken down, like in the second, I was like, all right, it's gonna come down to the end. I know I'm gonna go. I'm not gonna quit. And I'm looking over. I always look over and I see him, and he's, pretty damn tired. I'm like, I can steal this away. I just got to keep going forward.
And like you just said, you guys seem to be a bit tired going into the fifth round. Do you think that the crowd has any effect on the gas tank when you hear the Bader chants, the USA chants? Does that give a little added motivation to keep on pushing?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I don't need a lot of more motivation, but honestly, when you hear it's not just you in there, you could just be like, oh man, I'm kind of tired. Maybe I have this. I can just chill, But when you hear people that are invested in you, your coaches, your training partners, and then the whole crowd, come on, you can do this, do it for us, kind of deal, gives you some motivation, and that's why I was like, kind of got locked up in that fifth round. I'm like, I got to hurt this dude. I can't move. This guy's strong, but I'm going to hurt him and go. I'm not, I'm going to go out like that and see what happens.
Hey, Ryan, congrats on the win. I talked to Benson about this earlier, so I'll talk to you about it. So your place in Arizona MMA, I know you said you're getting older. I know you're obviously not ready to hang them up yet or like completely look back on your career. But does it mean something to you, that you can fill a house in Arizona, that when you list Arizona fighters for history, your name comes up quickly, if not first? Does that mean something to you, like really being the guy that is kind of the face of MMA around here?
Hell yeah, it's just, it's kind of weird because, what do I have? I have 39 fights now, some not on my record because Ultimate Fighter and all that. And I'm like, how the hell do I have that many fights? I feel like I'm 5 years into my career, even though I'm freaking pushing 40, but I've never really like looked back, at my career and sometimes I got to remind myself and like, hey, look at who you've beat, look at what you've done, and so for me, it was very, very important to come back to Arizona after that last fight and have a redo, win, lose, or draw, just go out there and fight my ass off and show everybody what I'm all about, and there's plenty more I want to get done, before I'm done, and definitely solidify myself, not only in Arizona, but the whole sport.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks, buddy.
Recording